31 judges have now recused themselves.
You want to go learn about this? Let me teach you.
31 judges have now recused themselves from a lawsuit alleging that family court guardians and psychologists orchestrated a money-making scheme.
Take you down, then we're all next. Just look around. There's only a very few of us that has not been made. They have access to a lot of confidential information. So the question is, what's the resource? There is a concern that licensed attorneys might be getting this information and feeding it.
That's correct. And I think what you heard on that tape was the guardians ad litem who have been named, some of them who've been named in the lawsuit, panicking about the fact that there are whistleblowers inside the system releasing information to journalists that implicate them in crimes.
Guardians ad litem, so they're attorneys assigned by the family court in St. Louis County to represent children in custody disputes.
I mean, when you're selling kids, right, there's got to be some money attached to that.
I was figuring on using my trust account, but do you think I should set up a separate account? Okay.
Go on your IOLTA. I think it should be a separate bank account,
alleged crimes. That's what they're being accused of. Draining parents through the system, dragging out cases so long so that it just keeps racking up giant bills. Ex parte communications with judges, which they admit to on the tape. And the funny thing about what they did on that recording is they did not deny really that these allegations are untrue. They actually were upset that people were getting the information.
What do you think that happened to that IOLTA account?
It's not hard to incorporate a quick LLC.
You know, they did like almost everybody in their chat. GMBL is food and food.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, and I don't know how this person got our email. Like, I'm just trying to figure out, what's going on, but I wasn't sure.
You know, Sarah, and everybody, there are a lot of attorneys that were included on all these emails that are not on this call and are not DALs. So this isn't just the 38 of us. This is larger than this call. I'm all for spreading the word however we can. Good. And getting more people.
This is Sean. Did I understand this is going in a separate account, correct? That's correct.
We can name it whatever we want, but that would require opening a bank account in the name of an entity.
Right? Can we just PayPal or Venmo you?
Okay, Greg, make sure you listen to what Siobhan Harris has to say. She's on the disciplinary committee. I would certainly recommend a separate account.
I think you get audited.
Our OCDC attorney is finished.
I think the same approach I want to take is just put it in my trust account. Right? I understand that that's a big problem, but I mean, I just kind of do that as being where I put money that doesn't belong to me. Keep my account that way.
Yeah, in the operating account. Not trust, but operating.
Yeah. Call ourselves Cash for Kids.
LLC. My financial fund is that I know 4 or 5 other families, and we're getting together and we're hiring a lawyer. And I don't know that she is, but there's a part that she certainly knows about this stuff. This threatens to take down the entire system.
Forwarding this email to other attorneys who may want to support the cause.
That's what I think we need to find out from Elaine, from her lawyer first, because it's going to become part of the scheme if they figure it out.
He said he didn't have any problem as long as I wasn't spearheading.
I don't think there's any need for an email. We're all taking notes, and we can all proceed from here.
And I agree with Hank. If we're worried about emails, we all know each other. Other word of mouth, attorneys that aren't on here, email a check to Brad.
Yeah, and I think that way we know, if we would know them, that means somebody's approached us about it,
or we heard about it through somebody. It gives us more control.
I agree. The less paper trails, the best.
You know, these people, it's unfortunate, they're supposed to be charged with the best interests of children who are going through a traumatic time in their lives, which is divorce and custody disputes. And instead of being for the children, they appear to be all for themselves and their bank accounts. They're charging exorbitant fees. Elaine Pudlowski, who's named in the suit, charged Evita Tolu $30,000 for her services to take her children from her and give them to the man they accused of abuse. It's starting to widen, saying, this happened to me. My children were also given to an abuser. And the guardians ad litem are all the same players. And they seem to work together with a certain number of judges and a certain number of psychologists to diagnose a parent with a fraudulent diagnosis, a medical diagnosis like borderline personality disorder, and accuse that parent of parental alienation. And then they give the children, after they drain them dry, they charge them huge amounts of money. And then they take the children, they lose their children, they lose their homes, they lose everything. Daily Docket News is an anonymous newsletter. Someone, and I think maybe whistleblowers within the system, have put together what they are calling the Daily Docket News. They've been reporting on this for months, and they only send this news report through email. You can only get it through email. If there's no web presence, no one knows who they are. But they are doing the work of journalism. They are doing real journalism. They are exposing court documents that are showing judges behaving terribly on the bench. There are audio recordings of judges screaming at parents, an audio recording of Judge Zellweger sending a 14-year-old to live with the man who she says molested her, and she's begging her in court, but this man molested me. Why are you making me go with him? You know, we have judges behaving very badly in St. Louis court, and no one is looking over, presiding over them to say, hey, wait a minute, is this appropriate? Why didn't you put this girl under oath and take her testimony? Why didn't you call an evidentiary hearing to hear her out? Maybe she's telling the truth.
And letters that the writer has received anonymously from attorneys within the system who say that they're afraid to speak up because they know that this is going on, and they're afraid there'll be retribution. But they talk about the fact that their concern is that some of these people appointed as guardians ad litem are poorly trained and are in many cases trying to drain the bank accounts of the parents.
If you've seen the movie on Netflix, I Care a Lot, that is based on a true story of guardians in Las Vegas who did exactly that. And April Parks is serving 40 years in prison for it. This is not a new story. Guardians ad litem have historically been put in jail for this. And I believe that we're going to see that very same thing happen in St. Louis County. The evidence that I'm uncovering, and I have reams of it, tells me that this is one of the biggest stories that I've ever seen that involving a huge number of guardians ad litem and the willful draining of people's resources.
When one of these guardians is assigned to represent the child in a custody dispute, they're paid by the parents. And in Tolu's case, who brought the lawsuit, her guardian ad litem was paid $30,000, but you highlight stories in here where these people are paid up to $80,000.
That's right. And they also can drag it out for many, many years. I've talked to one parent who was in court for 10 years. You do the math. How much is that going to be? Oh. Elaine Pudlowski has the biggest caseload of anybody I've ever seen. She had 86 different hearings on 86 different cases in the month of December. If she is making even close to $30,000 per case, you do the math.
Yes. All of these allegations are included in this lawsuit by Evita Tolu, who filed this in St. Louis.
60-page suit is disgusting, and it's disgusts all of us. There are strength in number.
And that's an idea. We could adopt the identity. We could call ourselves Cash for Kids.
Oh, yeah, LLC.
Doesn't it bother you that people who are supposed to be representing children are talking about children like that? They're still practicing law right here in St. Louis County. Still happening.